Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Darius and Anucauskas. Today is the 21st of December 2018. So yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Friday's morning session where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few charts, see what happened yesterday. But as always, before we jump into the charts, we need to have a quick look at our risk disclaimer. So the content we produce does not constitute an investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay guys, so now then, let's quickly jump into the first chart. Now, the first one I want to talk about is the DAX. Now, looking at the DAX, you can see here, looking at this daily chart, you can see that yesterday, yes, we did have a decline here, but kind of continued to hold around this quite important area of support that I was talking about in one of my previous videos, and that was around the 10,605, or in a way, let's put it probably rounded up towards the 600 level, just for the sake of it. So this is where the index managed to close the day around this level. Certainly, given the fact that we do have a bit of well, not a bit of, but a bit of some selling happening, really, if we can say it that way, in the equity markets. And of course, looking at DAX, I mean, it is already kind of sliding lower. Certainly, the year is going to finish off the year in the red, probably. Of course, we do have some trading days left, and maybe we'll reverse and push back up here. But in order for us to kind of consider these higher levels, well, some of the some key resistance areas must be broken first. So basically, long story short, guys, looking at this right now, and looking at the cash index where DAX is trading right now, certainly looking, it's currently sitting around the same area here around the closing price. So in a way, even if we're going to see a bit of correction here, certainly we're still quite negative on the whole outlook here. But let's say assume if we get a nice push here above yesterday's highs near the 10,685 level, approximately there. Now this is where we could then aim for slightly higher levels. And for this one, actually, let me just jump into a 4-hour chart. Probably this will be easier. And this is what I'm talking about, guys. So basically today, what you can keep an eye on is look at yesterday's highs here around the 10,685 zone. If we get a nice pop above this level, then, well, we could fill this gap that we saw here between the 19th of December and the 20th of December. So yep, this could be quite interesting to see if we actually do that. And if we do fill this gap, now this is where it could become interesting. We could see maybe more buying activity coming in here. Maybe the bulls will try to regain some of their losses, and this is where, if we move towards the 10,825 level, and if we get a nice pop above this, then we could in a way move towards the psychological 11,000 level then. So for now, guys, for today especially, keep your eyes on the on yesterday's highs near the 10,685. If we do get a nice push above that, then we could in a way fill this gap that we had here between the 19th and the 20th of December, and that would be the full gap here filled will be around these 10,750 level. But like I said, if that doesn't stop the bulls from pushing higher, then yep, keep a close eye on this 10,825 level. Could be a nice target, nice potential area of resistance here initially. But for now, if this of course continues to travel lower here and pushes below the 10,600 level and continues to drop here even below these lows that we saw yesterday at around 10,565 area. Now certainly we do have quite an important area of support here going at around 10,400, which going back into history, will show you just where that level is. Basically the 10,400 area here acted as a very nice area of support way back in December time 2016. So this is where the pair managed to bounce off and push higher. So that's why the 10,400 level becomes quite an important one as well. So in a way I do understand that we're quite oversold here in this market, but to be honest, sometimes there's no such thing for the equity market as being oversold. But if they want to continue traveling further, they will continue traveling further in either direction. So for now, from the very short term perspective, guys, probably that's what we're going to look at, this one from the very short term. At the moment, we're not going to jump into any long-term predictions here. It's a bit difficult with this one. So if we do get a nice drop here below the yesterday's low near the 10,565, then yep, probably brace yourself. We could probably see a retest of the 10,400 level. But if this decides to reverse back up here and we start breaking the 10,685 level here, then well, I mean, this could be a good opportunity for this gap to be filled, where the next potential area of resistance could be around the 10,750 level. Jumping into gold now. Gold was a good performer yesterday, and looking at this daily chart here, we can see that we had a nice pop here through this 1258 zone. I was talking in one of my previous videos, and I was telling you guys to keep an eye on this as well. So, and we had a perfect touch of the 1266 level, which was marked here by the highs of the 9th of July. And of course, this is what we were waiting for. We were waiting for this test here of this 1266. Now, of course, if this wants to continue traveling further, in order for us to consider much higher levels, we would need to see a nice good pop above this 1266 level. But the only thing is that, well, this is where we will aim for the 1283 zone, approximately there. It acted as a nice area of resistance here in the past, and also a nice area of support around the 21st of May. But for now, guys, because we're already kind of well, we already managed to reach this key important area of resistance at 1266, there is probably a possibility that we should not exclude that we could see a bit of correction here to the downside, and especially if we get a drop below the 1258 level. Now this is where we could probably aim maybe back down towards the 1250, or even actually all the way towards this little short-term upside support line that has been running here from the lows of the 14th of November. Now again, be very careful with this. I mean, it is, of course, the gold is picking up its status as being safe haven again, but if we see maybe a bit of a correction in the equity markets, we could see gold maybe sliding slightly back down here, and if we like I said, if we drop below the 1258, could see some further declines here. Jumping into Bitcoin, I'm not going to spend too much on it, but just wanted to quickly mention that this is basically, well, Bitcoin basically and the whole crypto world is having a nice week this week. It managed to break through this key important area of resistance near the 3,650 level, from which it kind of continued to push higher. Certainly you can see that it managed to break above the 20 SMA and also the 21 EMA, shown here as the yellow line. So managed to reach the upper bound of the Bollinger Band. Of course, this we could see at some point a bit of retracement back to the downside, but the only thing is that if the momentum is going to stay strong here, of course the upside momentum is going to stay strong here, we could in a way target the 4,430 level approximately there, marked near the highs of the 29th of November. And this is where it could also test the 50 EMA here, shown as the red line. So yep, guys, for now, even though it seems like from the very short-term perspective, it looks a bit overextended here to the upside, but yep, we could see maybe a small one, but to be honest, it's now looking slightly more to the positive side, I would say, and especially if we're going to get a nice pop above the 4,430 level. Now this is where it could become more interesting again, and we'll probably aim for the psychological 5,000 level and above. So but for now, be very careful. If suddenly, let's say, drops below the 3,650 level, well, I mean, probably it'll put us into a more neutral position here, because in order for us, let's say, to consider much lower levels in the near term, we would need to see a drop below the 3,135 area, approximately there, and basically below these lows that we saw here in December. And if we do get a drop below this level, now this could confirm a forthcoming lower low, and that's why we'll aim for much lower levels. For now, certainly it seems to want to go higher, let's put it that way, but again, be very careful. From the near-term perspective, we would need to see a nice good pop above the 4,430 level in order to kind of aim then for the 5,000s. But now still, it could see maybe a bit of correction here to the downside, or even actually going back all the way here to retest the 3,650 level from above. But if it fails to break below this, then it could be a great plateau for the bulls to step in again and push this one back up. Jumping into USDJPY, now this is something it was very exciting to watch yesterday during the US trading session. Certainly yen picked up its again picked up its safe haven status, and certainly everybody started jumping into the yen as the markets were selling off. So you can see that this led to USDJPY selling off heavily here. And looking at this daily chart, now this is not something that's looking quite good for the USDJPY, because you can see now it's trading below the 200 EMA. Now this is where it will be very interesting to see how this day is going to end up. Is today's candle, are we today going to manage to drive this pair back up here above this 200 EMA and close the week somewhere around here, or actually we're going to stay below it and continue moving lower? And if we, like I said, if we do stay below this 200 EMA today, well, I mean, this probably is not looking good for the USDJPY pair, and we could see some further declines, especially going back towards the 110s and 109s. So something for you guys to keep on monitoring. So from the very short-term perspective, you could in a way keep your eyes on some of these levels here. So this area around the 111.35, you can see that it was a nice area here on the 26th of October, which acted as a nice support. But if this, now we can see that now it's trying to push back down. So of course the day has just started. We could see some volatility here, increased volatility today, so due to the uncertainty around the whole financial world, and if we do get a nice push here above the pivot, which is around the 111.55, something like that area, a nice good push above this could lead this pair towards a test of the 112.25, approximately there. We could see maybe a test of this area, and if that doesn't stop the bulls from pushing higher, then yep, could maybe see the full retracement here, and maybe a touch of this upside medium-term upside support line. We could see this one getting tested from underneath, but to be honest, because still there's a lot of negativity in the markets, and if this decides to drop below the 111.10 area, approximately there, now this could turn out to be ugly for the pair, and it could potentially drive back down here towards yesterday's low near the 110.80, or even going all the way lower here towards the S1, which is around the 110.50. So for now, probably long story short, guys, on the upside here, keep an eye on the 111.57 area, approximately there, and on the downside, keep an eye from the very short term perspective, of course, keep an eye on the 111.10. If it breaks to the downside here, we could have a retest of the yesterday's lows or even go lower. CAD yen is another interesting pair. Certainly looking at the daily chart for this one, it's similar story as the USDJPY, but it had a nice sell-off here, managed to reach this important area of support near the 82.15, marked by the lows of the 25th of June. So from which it kind of, it dropped actually lower here, managed to reach the area near the 81.95, from which it kind of bounced back up here. And certainly the negativity is here for now. If this decides to drop below the 82.15 level again, this is where we could then target the lows that we saw here on the 2nd of April, and that was approximately around the 81.65 level. So yep, could be a nice target for this one, or even if it wants to travel further down, the next potential area of support could be around the 80.95, marked by the lows of the 23rd of March. But again, guys, because we're quite overextended here to the downside, I mean, there could be a bit of correction here to the upside. So but again, would be very careful with the yen pairs today. Like I said, we could see some volatility again, and if the bears will decide to leave this one for now and wait until this pair drives a little bit higher and then jump in again. So yep, we could see this pair here traveling slightly higher here, potentially towards some of the key area of resistance. Let me just jump into a 4-hour chart here. So the first one, yep, we of course will keep on monitoring the pivot here around the 82.60 level, but if that doesn't stop it, then yep, we could see this one moving maybe back up here towards the 83.17. And if it fails to kind of push above this, then probably this is where the bears could step in again. And the last pair that I wanted to touch on quickly, and that's euro dollar. Now, looking at this one here, certainly is having a fantastic week this week, and managed to, of course, push back above this this short-term upside support line here. And to be honest, since then it kind of continued traveling higher. Managed to break the 114.70 level where it reached, and probably we need to adjust a few of these levels here right now. Let me just grab one of the lines. Probably I'll recycle one of the lines here. Oh, not this one, and this one. So basically, this is where it met its resistance yesterday around the 114.86, or should I say probably specified? Yeah, yesterday. To apologize. Yesterday, it managed to find its resistance near the 114.86. Certainly, that's not far from the psychological 115 level, which in a way, if it continues in the same pace here today, then it's to be honest, it becomes quite a real possibility that we could reach that level today, the psychological 115 level. But in order for that, we need to see a nice good break here above the 114.86. So to be honest, I do understand it's only about 14 pips distance here from the psychological 115 level, but nevertheless, in order to be more, let's say, comfortable and to be more on the safe side here, yep, this is what we're going to look at, a nice good pop above the 114.86, and this is where we could then reach the 115. And to be honest, this is where the rate could potentially get stalled until kind of the bulls and the bears figure out who's going to take control from here. And given the fact that we are quite extended here to the upside, we could see maybe a bit of a correction here to the downside again. But then again, from the very short-term perspective, guys, again today, keep on monitoring this level here. As you can see, that continues to act as a very nice area of support. This 114.42 42 area, 43 approximately there. If this suddenly gets broken and the pair decides to drive lower here, well, I mean, probably the correction could come a little bit earlier, and we could then aim for a possible retest of the 114 level. So quite an important level as well. But again, in order to kind of see that level, we need to get a nice good drop below the 114.40, and like I said, then we'll aim for this 114 level. On the upside, I will repeat myself, the 114.86, that's what we're keeping an eye on, the yesterday's high, and of course the psychological 115 level. So of course, for now, everything's for the euro dollar seems to be quite positive. We could see further acceleration here to the upside, a continuation move here to the upside, but if this suddenly drops below the 114.40, 43 approximately there, then yep, we could see maybe a bit of correction coming in, and a bit of selling coming in, and we'll target the 114 level again. Okay guys, I hope you found it useful, and do apologize for going a little bit over my time here, but nevertheless, I hope you found it useful. And if you want to join me later on, my Traders Tea Time, and that's 14:15 GMT time, guys. But for now, I hope you have a fantastic trading day. Bye bye.